When Hillary Clinton came to Syracuse to rally support during her primary fight with Bernie Sanders back in April, Syracuse Mayor Stephanie Miner was at her side at a roundtable discussion about jobs at a high school in Syracuse. The mayor has been one of Hillary Clinton's biggest supporters and greatest champions, and now she's about to give her first post-election interview to CBS 5. Let's get the facts first on CBS 5 News at 5:30. Miner is the 53rd mayor of Syracuse and the first woman to ever hold the job. A year ago, the Clinton team named the mayor to its Hillary for New York Leadership Council. The mayor and Donald Trump differ on many issues, as you might imagine, but immigration may be the biggest of all. You'll recall the mayor wrote to President Obama last fall saying that Syracuse could welcome more Syrian refugees. So let's bring a new perspective on the election of Donald Trump with Syracuse Mayor Stephanie Miner. Mayor, thanks for being my guest.
My pleasure.
Appreciate
Thank you for having me.
How are you?
I'm disappointed, but you know, I've been through elections. I've won them before. I've lost them before. It's part of the process and it's part of the system, and you know, you learn to live with the results.
Talk to me about election night. Take me through sort of where you were and how things were playing out and how you were feeling as the night went on.
Well, we were feeling very positive. The early vote numbers we thought were trending in our favor. We were hearing from the exit poll results that was trending in our favor. We knew it was going to be very close. So I was in a suite with friends and family and some supporters, and we were watching the results come in. And when they started coming in for Florida, and they weren't as high as we expected based on the early votes, we knew it was going to be tougher than we had thought. And then Florida, we were waiting for Miami-Dade, which was a strong point, and then Virginia came in, and Virginia was really bad. But then Virginia, they started closing the gap, and then we started closing the gap in Florida, but not enough. And then they started talking about Michigan and perhaps Wisconsin. And so it was a very long night, an early morning, but one that was definitely not what I had expected, or frankly what the Clinton supporters expected. And I know a number of people are Trump supporters. They hadn't expected those results either. I
want to go to the iPad and talk personally about this for you, because you tweeted this picture out on Election Day, and you said in the caption that it's for my grandmothers, nieces, and nephews, and you signed it from you, so we know it's from you. As you look at that picture, given the result, I know the result is disappointing for you, given that you have a personal relationship with Hillary Clinton and many of her staff members. Does it hurt? Does it hurt personally?
It does. You know, the stakes were very high for control of the Supreme Court, for control of a progressive agenda, immigration, economic development policies, an urban agenda, and to lose by 1% in the swing states. So to have the margin be that close and the stakes that high, it's the recipe for personal hurt. I've had the very privilege of knowing Hillary Clinton and working with her, and I think those of you who saw her speech yesterday understand that was a real privilege, and I'm proud of my support for her. But you know, women got me involved in politics. My grandmothers got me involved in politics, and I've brought my nieces and nephews along with that. So for me, it was a very powerful moment to vote for a woman for President of the United States.
What sort of impact can you imagine or envision that a President Donald Trump would have on the city of Syracuse?
Well, you know, he talked a lot about, in his campaign, he talked a lot about infrastructure, and I think that could be common ground. You know, it's hard to know exactly what he's going to do because he tended to have different policy positions at different times. But I think infrastructure is a shared opportunity, and as a builder, which he's very proud of, I think that would be something that would appeal to him and that we could move forward on that.
When it comes to building in the city of Syracuse, we know that you are very fond and you are very firm in your opinion and belief that building must come with some sort of benefit for the people who work in the city and some of the people who don't work in this city, who are looking for work. How do you think that would play? As we take the Inner Harbor as an example, how would that play with Donald Trump, do you think?
I don't think that's a message that's going to resonate with him, given how the history of him, how he built some of his hotels and used workers for out of the country, and he's been sued over some of his employment practices. But you know, we live in a democracy and the people have voted, and so he's in charge of that. I think when you're talking about our water mains, the future of 81, there are grounds there that we can work together to have a better outcome for the people of the city of Syracuse and our entire community. Are we going to have very deep political and philosophical divides? Absolutely. You know, that's part of why I work so hard.
I hadn't considered the fact that Donald Trump will be president during the construction of whatever 81 becomes, whatever form that takes to the city of Syracuse.
He will. He will.
The moving forward for you, can't run for mayor again.
I can't. I cannot.
I had visions of probably reading a story down the road if Hillary Clinton became the president of you going to work in her administration in some form or fashion, possibly the Justice Department. Is that something you thought about in the back of your mind?
I actually didn't. You know,
I knew you'd say that. I knew you'd say that.
Well, I'll tell you this. A lot of people speculate about that. I went to work for her because I believed in her policies, and I advocated because I thought it was so important to the future of this country. And as a mayor, I knew firsthand that I could talk about those issues of infrastructure, of education, of economic prosperity. But I love the job that I have. I work very hard to, and I feel very privileged that the voters of the city of Syracuse gave me that opportunity. So I got 14 months. And I'm going to sprint to the finish line.
I knew that, and they're going to kill me upstairs for asking another question, but on the campaign trail, Donald Trump lashed out at Democrat mayors of cities, big and small throughout the country, saying that you folks are responsible for the decline that he was talking about at these rallies. Can you answer that back?
Sure.
Is there a 20-second rebuttal to that?
Yeah, the answer is that all of the federal governments, they have abdicated their responsibility with education, with infrastructure, with public planning, with all of those things, and then they have said to mayors, why are your roads crumbling? Well, you haven't given us the infrastructure funding. Why do you have all those poor people? Well, you have cut food stamps. Why are your children not graduating? Because you're not helping us with education aid. So all of the policies that have not been helping people, there's been an abdication of responsibility by the federal government. There's been no urban policy. There's been no plans. And yet at the same time, that's where we see all of the economic development happening in our country is in cities. So you can't have he lives in a city. You can't have the good of New York City without understanding that the government has a role in equalizing the income inequality and making sure that talent is universal, but unfortunately in our country, opportunity is not. We have to make sure that opportunity is universal in our cities and outside our cities.
Syracuse Mayor Stephanie Miner,
thank you
so much. Glad you were here. This weekend, a lot of folks will be watching this. We hope you're tuned to CBS 5 for the 60 Minutes first post-election interview with President-elect Donald Trump. It's 7 o'clock Sunday here on CBS.